Good evening. This is Debra V. Wilson. It is Thursday, the 20th of June, 2019, and the time is 2000 hours and 39 minutes. I am in Bradford doing field work. I'll be based in Bradford for a few more weeks, and then I move on to another part of the UK, but I will keep you abreast when that happens. I don't like to put the cart before the horse. That's right. So I like to take things in stages. Here in Bradford, what I'm doing is I'm looking at, from an observational perspective and some interviewing, I'm doing field work. And the field work is around my research, understanding the way in which the national security model here is constructed, and why it's constructed the way in which it is. So how do I know what the national security model is? We live it. We, as civilians, we experience it at the airport, for instance. The counterterrorism policing effort entity has a Twitter account that you can follow. MI5 has a website. That's the security service. The counterterrorism police, which is SO15, also has a website. There are myriads of ways you can know and understand the national security model. And again, I'm looking at internal, and the two major agencies responsible for national security model internally, which is SO15, the counterterrorism police, and MI5, the security service. Then the next thing I want to look at is an understanding of what's emerging from a bottom-up perspective. So that's from civilians. So I'm looking at civil society that organically emerges, as well as extremism. The security apparatus which emerges from this society is constructed, is implemented, is administered by British nationals, is constructed out of narratives, policies, laws that are based on all things British. It's from the top down. So in a place like Bradford, I'm trying to ascertain the climate of the city, who the people are, who they believe themselves to be, how they understand themselves, and how they understand the state and what the state is providing to them in the terms of services around security. I can understand Bradford in terms of its reputation in the country. I'm from a neighborhood in Woodlawn that back in the day that was considered one of the worst neighborhoods in America. It had a heavy gang presence. This is if you were valued by your reputation, Bradford would be quite poor indeed. But that's not Bradford at all. It's a city that's actually rich with diversity. It's rich with passion and love of the city. It's a very youthful city. It's enthusiastic. It's friendly. Bradford does have some crime issues. And it is interesting, as a newcomer to this city, that I'm so new, in fact, that I view myself as an outsider, looking outside, from outside within, to look at the ways in which the state is comporting itself to protect the civilians, and how that's experienced by the civilians. I think it's fascinating. When I go out, I make a point of engaging in conversations with random people to get to a sense of who do you believe you are as a person who lives in Bradford? What does that identity mean for you? How do you experience the city? And how do you experience the state? And your fellow citizens, of course. So a few days ago, it was sometime last week, I was out doing grocery shopping, and I was speaking to a young lady who was an employee, a young girl. And I complimented her. I talked to other staff members, her other coworkers, about how kind they are and how much care they take, particularly with those of us that are older, and how respectful they are. It's a busy city, and I usually do my shopping during rush hour, and everybody's in there grabbing this, that, and the other. And no matter how busy the staff is, they've always been so helpful. And the young woman said to me, I mentioned to her that I talked to her other coworkers, and I wanted to let her know that I was very appreciative of the respect that they had shown me as an older person. And this young girl said to me in her very early 20s that she was honored to be told that, because she said, I would never disrespect any elder. And she thanked me for that. She said, thank you, because I always respect my elders. I don't care who they are. And I remember the smile on her face. That was last week. This week I was out doing grocery shopping. And there was a young man, a young boy, in his early 20s at a different store. And I said, I told him it's a busy store. Yeah, and I love going to rush hour like that. The pulse, the energy. I am energized by the energy of other people. So I was speaking very quickly, but I thanked him for his professionalism and his kindness. And I said, I quite enjoy being here in Bradford. And he said, that's good to hear, because people say so many bad things about Bradford. I just never shop in one grocery store. I'm a vegetarian, and I have specific ways that I need to get by my food. In addition, I keep halal. So there are certain things I don't want in my food, right? And even when it says vegetarian, it might have alcohol in it, so I have to be careful. So I went to a second grocery store to get the remainder of my groceries. And there was a young man, also in his 20s, with his son, and the son was screaming. And so the man takes on running with the boy, and I think it was to distract the child. And then they ended up walking alongside me, and I asked if he's okay. He said, oh, he's just having a temper tantrum. Oh, he's just in a bad mood. Well, the child that had these gigantic and beautiful brown eyes with wonderful, beautiful eyelashes looked quite offended. I don't even think the child could speak yet. But the child looked quite offended, and I started laughing. I said, well, now you've gone and offended your son, and you've misrepresented him, and he seems quite offended. So then when I said that, the little boy just started chattering away, and he really wasn't saying words, but he was just chattering away. And his father starts laughing, and I said he wasn't causing a scene, he wasn't acting out, he was just being himself, and you've misrepresented him. And the father was laughing and said, I think you might be right. Then all of a sudden this woman comes running along. It was her mother, and she's waving at me, smiling, hiya. So we start talking, and I said, well, I'll let the three of you do what you're going to do, because I have to finish getting my groceries. And we just started waving at each other and laughing, and the little boy was still looking at his father. I think he actually was quite offended. I should have warned the father. That will be in his biography when he grows up. But I was thinking, that's Bradford. And all of her struggles, and she has struggles, I would be disingenuous if I said otherwise. She does have struggles, and all of her challenges. It is a hard-working city. It's a city that's working for fairness for all. It's a city that's working to address some crime issues. It's a city that has challenges of cohesion that it's working on. So I'm going to put a link in this podcast of ways in which you can reach out to Bradford and engage with this magnificently hardworking city. I'm from Chicago, so if you're not working hard, you're not working. And this is a hardworking city that's aware of her challenges and appears to be willing to face them head on. Next, not so much about Bradford, but definitely about this country. Next week I will be in London, then I come back home to what is my home until I move to another part of the country, which is later. But I'll be in London for about a week. And in London, I'm going to be doing some field work and attending some meetings, and I'm also going to go to Birmingham, a meeting that's in support of the Birmingham LGBT lessons at the primary school, and I'm going to include in the podcast some information about the event I'll be attending. I'm in favor of the lessons. From everything I've seen and heard, the lessons are age appropriate. But there's another reason why I'm for the lessons. I am African American, and I am Muslim, and I am a Muslim woman that still embraces Catholicism. I grew up in a multiracial home, and I don't see God as one or the other, but as both and all. Sorry, I got a bit distracted there. I'm looking at something. And so, my reasons for being in support of the lessons, and I do apologize for momentarily being distracted. I'm from a city, I'm 61, I always say my age. I try to always, so you can contextualize and understand from what I am emerging. In Chicago, I was born in Chicago, one of the most segregated cities in America. And I know the dynamics of people that try to marginalize you and what that looks like when you make it easy for people to marginalize you. And one of the things, the function that the state can perform is not to allow people to marginalize you. So for instance, now context the UK, you can no longer as a landlord have a sign that says no Irish, no blacks, no dogs. You cannot refuse to rent to queer people, gay people, under the umbrella. You cannot refuse to employ an otherwise qualified person who is visibly disabled. The state serves many functions, but one of the functions the state serves is the validation of who we are as a nation. This is when we educate our children. At the latest, this child needs to be in school. And that child needs to stay in school until a certain age. In democracies, we have a role in deciding who we are, right? And then the state comes in with this girth and says, this is who we are. Come aboard. This is who we are. We educate our children, right? We have freedom of religion here. This is who we are, right? Who we also are is a country that acknowledges partnerships, marriages, families between a myriad of consenting adults. My concern is that in this primarily brown Muslim school is the denial of those lessons, is the denial of who Britain is, who she is, and that the state is right to tell the children, age appropriate, that this is who we are. And what's produced when you don't teach children at an age appropriate level who we are as a nation is that you become a foreigner in your own country and you become complicit in your own marginalization. The whole reason, the entire reason that the state steps in and places that it does like this is so we're all on an equal level playing field. So if when I go to rent a flat, that the person can't look at me and say, well, you're black, I don't want you here. And I otherwise maybe pay for the flat, I meet all the other criteria. The landlord can't do that to me. The landlord can't say to me, I don't visibly appear to be a Muslim, but I am, and if the landlord becomes aware of that and says, I don't want any Muslims here, he can't do that. Or if it's a more traditional Muslim, which I am not, says, oh, you're not Orthodox enough, I don't want you in here. You also can't do that. The state is there. One of the functions of the state, as I see it, is that we all come aboard and we try. That's what we're pushing the state, to make sure we all have a level, even playing field. And the simple, innocent lesson of telling children that families, which are a good thing, are formed and look a myriad of ways. I'm afraid that the delay in sharing something that's so innocent and basic is complicitness in an already marginalized community. It's complicitness in your own marginalization. So that's the reason why I support the lessons. And if you are in support of the lessons, I will post this event and hope you make your way to Birmingham. Also, again, I'm going to post a link to some events, a Twitter account that lists some events in Bradford. So, 2 B's, Bradford and Birmingham. It's, I never tire of learning in this country. Ever since I started coming here and I was in my late 20s, it's always been so intense, and it has not stopped. It's a bit of a rough patch we're going through, but let's not create drama when we don't need it. And the state reconfirming that we're all on a level playing field, including consensual adults that form into healthy, loving, supportive, good homes for their children. That's a good thing. That's what nations are built on. Don't be complicit in your own marginalization. This is Debra V. Wilson. I am in Bradford. This is the second time I taped this because I made some mistakes the first time. So, I hope you enjoyed my podcast.